Welcome back, all you space lovers. This craziness of the internet here, and we are back again with another informational video in EVE Online. Today we will be going over the new Deathless faction ships and how they will be applied to EVE Online, and how CCP and the dev team have intriguingly said that they will be super powerful solo and small gang ships. Now, you guys do remember that to classify something in EVE Online as a solo asset, it does have to have a certain type of range aspect and be able to hold its own in a 2v1 minimum. Now, when I do say 2v1 in EVE Online, you guys, you make sure that you do understand this specifically, that it is not that my ship can take on two of the other style of my ship. That is for Tech 2 and Tech 3 vehicles. When it comes to Navy faction specifically, or neutral ships, which are the T1 ships in the game, then you do have to follow the principles of EVE Online, and that is scaling, where a destroyer is designed to hunt and destroy frigates. A cruiser is designed to support the bigger ships by taking out the destroyers, allowing their frigates and assault frigates to help pin down the other destroyers and kill the other command destroyers, which becomes a scaling effect into a cascaded effect, which then becomes descaling into your enemy's weapon systems with their traversals. This is what makes EVE Online unique, and the fleet formation fashion. Now, in EVE Online, when it does come to solo PvP and the ideas of how I would hold down a target and be able to survive, these ships will be based upon the shield aspect and brawling fashion of EVE Online, so you will have to get up close and personal. They will have a reduction to the webifying power of the enemy, which in turn will allow you to be able to get up close to your target and apply that DPS, but also will allow you to be able to pull range when needed and possibly escape if you are being outpowered and outnumbered, because usually when it does come to a brawler, the only thing that locks them down from escaping is the webifier. So by having a massive reduction to the webifier, it does allow you that sustainability, not just in the fight, but actually the control of the field to possibly warp away. They have released some of the footage on how these ships will look, and we can go ahead and check those out right now. The first one we're going to see is the THOLOS destroyer. Now, understanding that these will be heavy based brawling faction ships, and that they do favor towards the Caldari style of gameplay and shield aspect of longevity. Now, because it does favor towards the Caldari and brawling style of gameplay, bringing unique style weapons to the game that we will discuss in a moment, we first have to understand that in EVE Online, we already do have heavily based mid and low range ships. So for them to claim that these ships will be powerful in solo and small gang format means that they will have a minimum of 5 or 6 mid slots. I do hope that they push towards 6 mid slots and 1 low slot, because that in turn would allow it to have its own unique profile and be different from other ships. Otherwise, it just becomes a statistical profile of percentile and the ability to use the new weapon systems. Now, by giving it 6 mid slots and 1 low slot, you do reduce the ability for them to be able to stack high amounts of DPS, because if it does have 5 mid slots and 2 low slots, you can combine those low slots with your rigs to create powerful DPS combinations, which in turn, combining that with the new weapon systems, could become super powerful and stronger than they expected. This is why they always release the ships to us and see what we do with them before they make balance changes, but I do hope they release it in this fashion so that we do not have to go through things like that. Now, the CENOTAPH Battlecruiser will work in the same fashion, as it will be a heavy style brawler, and it will also rely on heavily shield based style of tactics and heavy mid-grade modules and effects. Now, do remember, you guys, that these ships will be super powerful in hit and run style tactics, and also able to sneak up on your enemy, as they will allow the covert ops cloaking device, which does mean that these ships will become viable in wormhole space and also will be used by many nullsec players and players just trying to have some fun. Also, I'm sure we will see this ship used a lot in Pochvin as well. As remember, you guys, when they do declare that a ship is specifically for small gang and solo PvP aspects, they do also have to be able to reach many parts of the game as well, which it seems like these ships will also be able to do that. Now, everything in EVE Online does have pros and cons. Now, by making these two ships mainly focus on heavily style of brawl aspect play in the game, you do force them into one heavy style of play, meaning that they do become incredibly weak to other formats of the game, especially when it does come to speed and kiters or long range opponents in general. Also remember, when you do engage these things on the battlefield, try to be at a good distance and pin them far away. Alright, now we're going to get into the new weapon systems that will be coming to EVE Online. Now sadly, they will not be the heat damaging modules that I have been trying to push for almost a decade. They will just be like every other MMO. As remember, you guys, I tried to teach you that EVE Online is just like other MMOs, but there is many different style of mechanics that you can do in this game. Just like other MMOs that you do play, each will differ from each other, but the principles will be the same. So instead of CCP creating something new for the player base, they have chosen to add to the game the spell DECAY. Now the new weapon system is called a Deathless Breacher Pod, and these will not stack on top of each other. How they will actually work is whoever applies the heaviest base of damage from the Deathless Breacher Pod will be the one that applies the stack effect. Now how this effect will work is, yes, you guys, it will be just like any DECAY spell in any ARPG or MMO that you have played. It will slowly decay the enemy target over time, starting first with the shields, then the armor, then the structure tank, until that player has gone down. Now until the expansion release, we do not know how long the effect will last, whether it's 30 seconds, 60 seconds, or even longer. Once you do get the Deathless Breacher Pod system activated, whether your ship does go down in a blaze of glory, the damage over time effect will still apply to them. So even though they do destroy you, you may even destroy them in the end. And lastly, you do have to remind yourself that as a brawler in EVE Online, you do always have to be super aggressive in the game, especially when you're trying to pin down your targets and acquire the kill, or even be super aggressive when you're trying to control the range of the field in a scram kiting play or even a defensive web play. These new ships to the game and weapon systems will add different kinds of playstyles and more variety of what a small gang and solo PvPer can do. So I am excited for these ships and excited to get my hands on some of them. If you guys did make it all the way to the end of my video, please do like and subscribe. And as always, I hope you guys are all being safe out there. God bless, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.